Good afternoon to everyone. Thank you, David, and the organizers of this conference, really for the opportunity and privilege to present to all of you. Today I'm presenting remotely, and I just want to advise that in case we have an interruption, there should be an alternative way to present my PowerPoint, and I've also provided David with a narrative to accompany each slide. So we have a technical problem, content that should still be made available to you. As David mentioned, I organized this jurisprudence really to create a legal infrastructure for what I call human enhancement enabling technologies. And among those, of course, is neurotechnology, which is, perhaps one of the most disruptive technologies that we will encounter. So I want to begin by referring you to a novel called Amped. And in Amped, what happens is that a little girl who has epilepsy receives a brain implant to suppress her seizures, and it has the unexpected side effect of enhancing her intelligence. This creates a problem for her at school, and her parents are obliged to withdraw her from school, and in any event, a lawsuit is brought to reinstate her, and it goes all the way to the Supreme Court in this novel, and the Supreme Court ultimately decides that as an implanted child, she is not entitled to the protections of the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, and has no right to be reinstated. And while at first blush that's like a far-out possibility, you can see at the bottom there's a reference to a science article that came out on July 9th of 2014. And in that article, it indicated that ARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, was funding a program to the tune of $4 billion to UPenn and to UCLA, work with what's called direct brain recording, and indeed to develop implants to restore cognitive function and memory loss in the.
Okay, we might have dropped that there. Okay, I'm going to try to reconnect with him. Let's see here.
The person whom you're trying to reach is currently unavailable. Please leave a message.
Okay, we're going to try to give him another call, and if we don't make the connection, then I will walk through his slides because I have the annotation here. Oh, okay. Hello, Sander? Hello? You're not doing too good there. All right. Okay, I'm going to have to be Sander here because it looks like the Skype connection dropped and we are having difficulty restoring it. So, okay, so in Probing the Brain's Depth, Trying to Aid Memory, which is an article in the New York Times in July, The Department of Defense announced a $40 million investment in direct brain recording. And UPenn and UCLA won contracts to develop the brain implants for memory deficits. While the aim is to develop new treatments for traumatic brain injury, whose most devastating symptom is the blunting of memory and reasoning, researchers could see the potential of this technology for the enhancement of memory and cognition. Neuroimaging has gone beyond revealing anatomy to revealing function by correlating neural states such as thought, emotion, preference, and decision with neural functions. And the information elicited by neuroimaging is called neurodata, and like genetic data, its predictive potential for health, illness, and death invokes a need for special privacy protections. Neuromarketing is a field of marketing research that studies consumers' sensory, motor, cognitive, and affective responses to marketing stimuli. So researchers use functional magnetic resonance imaging, fMRI, to measure changes in activity in the parts of the brain, electroencephalography, EEG, and steady-state topography, SST, to measure activity in specific regional spectra of the brain response, and or biometric sensors to measure changes in one's physiological state, such as heart rate, respiratory rate, galvanic skin response, to learn why consumers make the decisions they do and which brain areas are responsible. So neuromarketing research is expanding rapidly in both academic and business sectors, and companies with large-scale ambitions to predict consumer behavior have invested in their own laboratories, science personnel, and or partnerships with academia. Neuropolitics investigates the interplay between the brain and politics. It combines work from a variety of scientific fields, including neuroscience, political science, behavioral genetics, to investigate classic questions such as how people make political decisions, form political attitudes, evaluate political candidates, and interact in political coalitions. Neurosurveillance, the news frequently reports that the NSA and perhaps other federal security agencies collect all telephone, cell phone, and email communications to detect and interdict threats of terrorism. Presumably, algorithms that infer or predict intention are operative to filter credible threats from this information. And the TV show Person of Interest is based on that premise. Okay, so the next is neural warfare, and the image here depicts the mind as a weapon, and it's also a target at the same time. Beyond cyber warfare looms mind warfare, targeting brain, cognition, emotion, and behavior. Stealthware, this is a new fashion trend, is a fashion responsive to the prevalence of surveillance and the growing need to exert control of what we are slowly losing. Our privacy, that is our privacy. The apparel shown on the left is intended to provide protection from observation by drones. It is likely predictive of fashion that protects or masks brain activity as well. Neurotechnology and transhumanism. Because of its potential for cognitive enhancement, neurotechnology is of particular interest to transhumanism, an ideology that embraces human enhancement enabling technologies to transcend the biological limits of human nature as we know it, in other words, to become transhumanist. Okay, here's trans jewelry. Transhumanism is still very controversial, but the path to the advent of a technologically enhanced citizenry may be blazed by wearable computers as the smartphone is eclipsed by the smartwatch, then the digital tattoo, the intradermal implant, and the subdermal implant. Vanity and immortality are enduring human drives. So there's 4 pillars of transhuman law here. Cognitive liberty, morphological freedom, reproductive liberty, and participant evolution are the 4 civil rights forming the foundation of transhuman jurisprudence. Morphological freedom entails the right to modify of to modify or refuse modification of the body. Reproductive liberty is the right to germline genetic engineering of the products of conception. Participant evolution is already occurring in the form of genetically modified food and foodstuffs elaborated by synthetic engineered cells. So we're already usurping the role of natural selection in evolution. Cognitive liberty is the right to modify or refuse modification of the mind by drugs, implants, and other techniques. While not explicitly upheld as a legal right, its protections are inferred from a case in which an order for the compulsory administration of an antipsychotic drug to render someone competent to stand trial was overturned by the Supreme Court. The freedom to refuse modification implies a right of privacy for the mind. So privacy is essential to cognitive liberty. Okay, neural privacy. Okay, the meninges, a trimalar membrane which envelops the brain, may well be our last barrier of privacy, the metaphorical Alamo of the central nervous system. Okay, Neurosecurity, Security and Privacy for Neural Devices, which was published in the Neurosurgery Focus, defined the term medical neurosecurity and called for the design of implantable neural devices that are secure in the face of adversarial attempts to co-opt their clinical functions to perform intrusive actions possibly associated with increased patient morbidity and mortality. It remains unclear whether neurosecurity is being adequately addressed in the design and programming of implantable neural devices, in the design and programming of neurodiagnostic equipment, and in the collection and storage of neurodata. Neurosecurity is the neurological component of the broader notion of medical cybersecurity. As in all implanted medical devices, implants are integrated into the Internet of Things, and the risk of injurious or lethal hacking increases. So the FDA on medical cybersecurity. On October of just last month, October of 2014, the FDA promulgated a non-binding guidance to medical device manufacturers to moderate and prevent medical cybersecurity breaches such as things that have happened: antivirus software stopping treatment of ER patients, wireless insulin pump models vulnerable to attack, hard-coded passwords make access easy to ventilators, surgical and anesthesia equipment, and between 2006 and 2011, 5,000 recalls and 1 million adverse medical device reports to the FDA. And as of this year, still no mandatory national reporting system for security incidents on medical devices. Okay, so expanded neurosecurity. The definition of neurosecurity also has a national security dimension. As with increasingly autonomous drones, a global arms race in the form of transhumanist military personnel is already underway. So we need to ask the important questions about the use of neuroscience and technology in interrogations and questioning. And longest staple of science fiction, mind control is actually becoming increasingly possible. Neurotechnology is the interrogation of enemies of the state, and that's on the event horizon. Okay, and the state of the law as a system that by design and definition looks at the past, the law is reactive rather than proactive, so not very helpful right now. If the state of the law in regard to cognitive liberty, neuroprivacy, and neurosecurity remains unchanged, neurotechnology will be driven almost exclusively by the profit motive in an unregulated market and an opaque national security apparatus. The Laissez-faire default future was the premise of a television series in which human enhancement enabling technology and artificial intelligence have so rapidly outpaced the law that all attempts to regulate them have been abandoned. The outcome is a free-for-all environment productive of a near nihilistic society with organized crime as the major end users of human enhancement enabling technology. The issue of eugenic conflict between the enhanced and the unenhanced is supplanted with a futuristic war between law enforcement and organized crime. The racial tension, quote unquote, between enhanced artificially intelligent androids and unenhanced cops punctuates the storyline of this movie. A better event scenario here. Only legislatures can pass enforceable laws. However, drafting model laws and regulations, perhaps predicated on crowdsourcing, that anticipate the social, political, and economic disruptions of technology would give legislators a basis for the lawmaking process. Okay, that's basically his slideshow. Unfortunately, he wasn't, due to Skype issues and his being in a remote location, weren't able to have him give the talk. He is interested in forming an organization that will specifically address and advocate these issues, and is also currently working with other physicians and medical practitioners and scientists to undergo some type of large-scale survey of these kinds of neurosecurity issues in current medical practice and that type of thing. So that's a story there. This, I think, is one of the areas where we lack the kind of support infrastructure for positively disruptive technology that we need. And obviously, Sandra is working on that.